Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video, and today we are doing a character guide on Fujin. So, Fujin just dropped with her FR. I picked it up in my summon video, so I've got her pretty much maxed out and ready to go. I only force enhanced her to 10, and I don't have her blue armor. I don't know that I want to invest that heavily in her, but I did fully max out her FR. So we're going to see how she performs at this level here. So in this video, we're going to look at her artifacts, we're going to look at her spheres, and then we'll do a showcase and kind of explain how her kit works. And then you guys can see if you kind of like her or not. I will say for her force enhancements, they are just standard. So if you're going to use her a lot and you like her and you want her to do more damage, bring it to 30. Otherwise, you could just go to 10 like I've done here. Just to have partial investment on there. That's totally up to you. But if you're not going to use her at all, don't put any on her, right? So the thing with Fujin, a lot of you will come into this video maybe with low expectations because those of you that are in the community or keep up with the community, the talk is Fujin is probably the worst FR and things like that, right? Now, just because she's the worst FR, and I would agree her FR is not good, we'll talk about it in the conditions and all that coming up, but just because her FR isn't good doesn't mean that she's a bad character. I think she's actually a fairly decent character, and she has a very interesting kit. I think if her force was tweaked just a little bit, she'd actually be like a really good character and could have a lot of damage potential because the skeleton of her force effect is fine. It's just they put some restrictions on it that I think makes it so it's not nearly as good. So when you guys are watching this guide, if you like the actual kit of the character, you could summon for her just the LD. You don't need the force. Unless you just want to do more damage with her, but she's usually not the force effect you want to use in a fight anyways, because other force effects will do way more damage. The other thing with Fujin is her call is very valuable, because Fujin is one of only like 2 wind enchants in the entire game, and the other one is Bart's, who is very outdated right now, right? So Bart's, he'll come back and he'll be good again, but right now Fujin's going to be the primary wind enchant if you need it. You're pretty much only going to need wind enchant when the fight calls for it, and obviously her cycle here, the fight is going to call for it. So if you have extra resources, picking up her LD just for the LD call isn't the worst. Even without her LD, you could still use like her base call will enchant a single character, which you could sometimes even get away with that. But if you have the LD, it will do party wind enchant, which is very good. So you can decide if you're going to like her or not based on that. But let's go ahead and look at her artifacts and her spheres, and then we'll jump more deep into her actual kit, right? So for her artifacts, now I think there's a couple ways you can build Fujin. I'm going to opt for more of like a Brave Gain build. And the reason why is because previously she only launched with her EX, but now with her new kit, she basically launches with everything. And she's almost like a launch specialist now. And with launching, Brave Gains are really important. So I feel like going more of like a support Brave Gain route with her is kind of the route I'm going to take. But you could take a more standard route with her as well. So the standard recommendation is actually to go attack 108, max Brave 330. I'm going with attack 108 and her C50 because her C50 raises her iBrave and her Max Brave, and iBrave is going to help the Brave gains a little bit, and Max Brave is going to give you more cap on that. So I'm really focusing more on the Brave end of things with my build, but you can decide if you want to go to the standard attack build, go attack 108, Max Brave 330, but I went with the C50 there to get a little bit of that iBrave in there for the battery, right? Then let's go ahead and look at her spheres. Spheres, you can take the same route, right? So once again, you have to decide, do you want to go more traditional route or do you want to go more Brave Gain route, right? So on the C slot, if you're going the more traditional route, I would say somebody like Alphanod is probably really good. You want to do something that's going to buff attack, right? And so one of those C slots that'll buff attack is typically what you want to go for there. I opted to go, there's actually a lot of good C slot Brave Gain spheres. So I put Ishtola's on there. So that's when she inflicts break or attacks the target with break will raise her own Brave Gain. But there are other ones that are more like party Brave Gains and things like that. So if you wanted to, you could throw a Brave Gain sphere on there. The D slot, mine definitely is not optimal. Back in the day, whenever I first put spheres on Fujin, I had this full D sphere and I just threw it on there because it was. So Kate says honestly isn't that great. It just raises party Max Brave. For my build, I'm just going to live with that. I would rather put something else there, but this is fine. But I don't want to like overwrite this full sphere without a slot remover. I don't want to waste it. Normally on the D slot, you'd want to do attack. So your typical people like Hope and Ash, Saz, like ones like that would be fine. I think Lisa's another one you could do there. So any of those typical D slots for attack is normally what you want to do. Or you could go with more like a Brave Gain or Max Brave one like I've done here. And then the E slot, same thing. E slot, you would look at pretty much attack spheres for a traditional route. You could do Quistis, which has like a Max Brave aura if you wanted to do that. But I have this this one right here, which is another kind of Brave gain sphere. So when inflicting a debuff, grants party member Brave. So based on I Brave once again, right? Which is why I have I Brave in her other thing, is so I can get a little bit of Max Brave there. So once again, just depends on how you want to go with it. But for traditional, you would just pick whatever the best E slot attack sphere is that you can do. But she does debuff, you know, here and there enough where those debuff spheres are going to be fine on her. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to hop into a little showcase here. Now, a disclaimer I need to say here, I have to say this because of comments I got on my Terra video. So just so you guys all know, when I do my showcases, I've been doing it just on the very first Shinryu that ever released because it's a pretty clean, easy fight. They really don't interfere with what I'm doing and I can just demo them. But in my Terra one, people noticed like my characters were losing health during Terra's FR. And they're like, oh man, Terra's really good, but it's kind of annoying that she drains her own health. So, no, that's not the case. Just so you guys know, this fight that I showcase on, their force effect like just creates an aura that is like poisoning my party. So my party will always be taking like poison tick damage, but it has nothing to do with like my characters harming themselves. It's just from the bosses in this fight. So I just felt like I needed to say that because there were people commenting that thought that was like Terra's own effect doing that to herself. So I don't want somebody to watch this and be like, oh man, Fujin's really bad. She poisons the whole party. No, that's totally not what's going on here. So let's go ahead and hop in. Now, Fujin, there isn't really like a set rotation that you need to use her moves in. It's really just about understanding what her kit does and kind of managing her buffs and things like that, right? So Fujin's going to start off right away. So the one thing with Fujin is that you're going to see she has Metsu and Sai, and her EX is called Tai, but her moves have plus versions, and that's because she's in wind mode right now. So when she's in wind mode, it basically provides generic buffs, which are really good, like really good generic buffs. But then it makes it so she has the plus effect. And the way you can tell it, there's kind of like a little white swirl around her body. There actually isn't like a buff symbol or an overhead that displays this. It's just you can see that white swirl that's kind of going around her body. So that's how you can tell she's in wind mode. You pretty much always want her to be in wind mode the entire time, okay? So there's a couple ways to like upgrade the wind mode or to refresh it, so you don't have to really worry about it. Basically her 35 and her EX will give her wind mode back. Her EX charges fairly quickly, so you really don't have to worry about it. As long as you're just pressing her EX, you're going to get it. So we'll go ahead and start with the EX here. So let's go ahead and do Tai, which is the EX. So let's take a look at the damage here. This is going to launch, by the way. Okay. Now, the thing that's cool about this is her EX was the only launch she had in her kit before, but now, in wind mode, like, all of her attacks are going to be launching, which is very, very good, right? So yeah, that was 800k, like, that was good damage there, right? So, more about her EX, okay? So, it was just an AoE Brave attack, right? And you saw the damage there. It does do party battery, right? So, she's got a touch of battery built in her kit. So, once again, that's why I liked a little bit of that I Brave in there. It did delay all the enemies one turn, and then, like you saw, it launched, and now the other enemy on the left is automatically launchable. So it's that pretty common thing where when you launch one, the other enemy becomes launchable. This is a very common thing that launch characters have been getting, so that's very good. And then the enemies are going to get a couple of debuffs. So one, they're going to get wind resist down on this, and then they're also going to get a wind slash debuff, which is actually like a trap that's going to go off. So this wind slash you're going to see will go off periodically. I believe it's just when the enemies take a turn. We'll double check it, but I'm pretty sure it's just when the enemies take a turn. So let's go ahead and shout here. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and attack through. Okay, and the cool thing with her wind slash was it used to only do brave damage. But now it actually has an HP dump on it. So that's very good. So it's basically like follow-up damage, right? So she's actually going to combo really well with Reno. And a lot of people, you've probably heard people talking about Reno. And his FR, I'm kind of excited for it because it's just so different than the other FRs. But basically it goes up when the enemies take turns. So it's kind of like one where like you want to be using tanks and stuff like that and be taking a lot of hits from the enemies. But Fujin's wind slashes would be triggering as well. So she actually works pretty well with Reno. Let's go ahead and intercession here. I will charge with Penelo to get to her force time, but I'm going to demo all of the base kit first, and then we'll go like rush into the force time so you guys can all see that. So let's go ahead and just do an attack here. We'll get to Ramza's turn. And I actually want the enemy to get a turn here, so I'm just going to shout again. Yeah, we'll let the enemy take a turn so we can see the Wind Slash go off. So there's the Wind Slash coming. So you can see, yeah, it actually did 250k. It's actually really good damage. Such an improvement over just doing Brave damage. It's actually kind of crazy, right? So let's go ahead and let's look at our first attack here, which is called Metsu. This is probably her most damaging skill, especially in like 2-target fights. So this might be a good like in-between button you want to press. Because we're in wind mode, we've got the plus version, so that means she will launch the target and make the other target launchable. So I could target this unit on the right that isn't launchable, and they should launch on this. And then it gives herself and the party a buff. So let's go ahead and do this. Okay, so you can see we got the launch there. And the buff, she gives herself a silent wind buff, and then the party gets a speed up. So her silent wind buff does do party attack, and then that's gonna like the silent wind is important because that's what gives party wind enchant. So now the whole party is gonna be hitting for wind damage, which is very good, and then it also has brave regen on it. So very, very good to have that handy, right? Let's go ahead and do let's do this fat burst attack with Ramza. Get his auras going. Kind of to make Fujin look her best here, right? But I'm going to tell you this, Fujin is definitely not bad. Like, she's actually pretty good. I'm liking this kit, especially in like a launch comp. It's very, very good. It's just her FR you're going to find doesn't work the greatest. We'll do like her full FR and try to like maximize it, but it's hard. The reason why her FR isn't that great, it's because like the big percentage boost she gets, she's the only character that can activate it. Like other characters can't. And she has no like burst phase or anything to hog all the turns. So like you have to let other party members take turns. And then you're like missing out on all this percentage that you can't get. So that's really the main reason why I think it's bad. I'll talk about it a little bit more when I get there. All right, let's go ahead and show her AA. Her AA is pretty cool because it does give like generic buffs, but it's just like a free delay. So like if you just need to push the enemies back, there you go. And that's great for helping to set up your launches. Combo that with the EX, which also delays. You can get 2 turns of delay in 1 turn to kind of put your party members in front and guarantee you're going to get all that launching there, right? So that's not a bad one either. Let's go ahead and jump to the 35 here, which is Sai. So let's go ahead and do that. Once again, this should launch either way, so we'll target the non-launchable one. Okay, very good. And you can see that's a little bit more single target focused. So if in single target fights, that's probably going to be the better attack. But yeah, 430k there, that's actually not bad with some splash on it. So that's also going to give the silent wind buff, which is going to be the party wind enchant. It gives her an attack up, and it does refresh her wind mode. So her wind mode, if you ever see it run out, you definitely want to hit that 35 if the EX isn't available. And then that also does wind resist down on the enemies, right? So let's go ahead here. Sure, let's galvanize. And that's actually kind of like charge too. It's a charging attack. Okay. And then, sure, well, I mean, I kind of like letting them have turns to see these wind slashes go off. Quite powerful. Like, Fujin really does do a lot. She's got traps, which are a lot of fun. She's got the wind enchant. She's got launching. She's doing party battery. Like, she is actually not a bad character. I think there's a little bit, probably, and I think the misconception, like I said, it comes from everybody trashing on the FR. And people hear Fujin FR is bad, so people think Fujin bad. But Fujin is actually not bad. I'm trying to clear that up in this video. I actually think Fujin, like her actual character kit is very good. I actually really like it and enjoy it. And in fact, if I like it enough, I may even force enhance 30, maybe bluer armor, do a blue Jin. I know that's kind of a meme, but I am really liking her actually. If I feel like I'm actually going to use her, I may consider going a little bit deeper on her build. We'll see, because I've always been a fan of Fujin. She's a lot of fun. Cool looking character. I don't know, it's like I play Yu-Gi-Oh! And like my favorite decks are wind decks. So like wind, I have a thing for wind, I have a thing for green. Green's my favorite color, so I don't know. It's got to be something with that that I'm really liking Fujin. Sorry if you heard a loud noise there. I just bonked my mic with my watch. That's how excited I am for Fujin, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and use the EX here. Okay. Alright, so we got Fujin. So, oh, I haven't even showed you the LD yet, right? So let's go ahead and do the LD. We'll have the EX ready to go here. But we're going to go ahead and pop the LD. So the LD here is called Satsu. Once again, this is going to be a big wind AoE attack. It's going to do a Brave gain. It's going to give her a buff called Gust, which does give party attack up, HP damage up, And then the big thing with this is when you're doing weakness brave damage, it batteries the party for 100% of max brave on the first brave hit. So it's actually very cool. So let's go ahead and do this LD here. And then actually, without trying very hard or just showing the kit naturally, we're ready for force time. So we'll actually go into that next. Oh, she just got gazed, but it didn't look like she got paralyzed from it. These guys can actually be kind of a pain. I've actually died in a showcase on the stage before. But I want to let them get turns to show off the wind slash a little bit, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and regen waltz here. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Fujin's FR. And then I'm actually going to summon because I don't want the enemies to get turns at this point. And I kind of just want Fujin to kind of show off her FR from that point. Because we've pretty much shown the rest of her kit. Alright, so let's get through Penelo's turns here. And then we'll hop in. So let's go ahead and HP here. Okay, we'll select Ramza. Ramza will probably just HP attack as well. I mean, we haven't done his LD yet. We could do this. This will launch and push the enemies back. But yeah, this is why, like, and I know other content creators have talked about this, but I haven't really been vocal about it, but I actually really love Dare to Defy, and I really wish they just made this permanent content. Like, literally every event, like, do, like, sections, you know, like they're doing now, they're doing, like, a pot of, like, 7, like, Shinryus together, and they're doing lockouts, and then when this is done, they should just start another pot of 7 and reset the lockouts. I think that would be so fun. It gets me to do the Shinryus twice, and I get to, like, experiment with the team comps, and I'm loving this Dare to Defy. It's great. Okay, so let's go ahead. So the other thing you could do too is if you want to set up for force and make sure that they're back. Like, I could do a delay here with my AA and push them back a little bit if I wanted to. And then sure, let's hop into force time. All right. I actually don't know who her partner is. Oh, Shadow, that is legit. Okay, I'm a Final Fantasy VI fan, so I'm liking Fujin even more now. So we got Shadow in there. Nice. I actually really... Shadow is another character I think is a little underrated. He's actually really fun and really good. Shadow's great. He's got defense ignore. He can dodge. His dog does a bunch of follow-up attacks. He's very cool. But this isn't a Shadow showcase. I probably have a showcase on Shadow somewhere. So if you want to learn more about Shadow, he's a pretty cool character. Okay, so here's the problem. So we're in FR right now, right? So let me explain what happened here. So one thing is it did that big AoE attack that you saw there. It delays all the enemies one turn. It launched the target and makes the other target launchable, just like the rest of her kit does, right? But now here's the thing, the HP damage limit condition. So the first one is just to do wind brave damage on turn, 20%. Okay, that's fine. You're wind enchanted anyways, that's a very good effect, right? But then the next one is when you launch an enemy, you get 40%, but it specifically has to be Fujin. And that's the part that wrecks it, right? Literally, if you delete the word Fujin from that statement, and it's just launch an enemy, then she'd be good, because then she's creating launches, the whole party is going to be launching and doing wind damage, and you're getting 60% each time with launch. Like, that's almost comparable to, like, what Cam's doing. And she would actually be, like, ridiculously good, but because they limit the Fujin, here's the problem. I just popped the FR, and look, I got 2 character turns that are not Fujin. So what's going to happen here is I can do my wind brave damage, and I'm going to get my 20% here, but that's it. I want 60%, not 20. So you can see, let's see. Yep, so I got 25 there because, you know, Penelo naturally gave a little bit of boost as well. Okay, and I can go ahead and do this. So I just want to make sure I do something that does brave damage, right? So we'll just do this attack here. Okay, and then you can see 20% or 23, right? And now Fujin gets a turn. So now that Fujin gets a turn, it's like, yeah, we're going to launch and do wind damage. We're going to get 60, but I can't follow this up with more Fujin turns. That's the part that stinks. Now, Fujin with a BT, this kind of changes a little bit. Because Fujin, you know, getting a BT, yeah, you can see 61%. That's good. That's pretty close to Cam. Cam does like 80 per shot, right? But it takes a little bit more setup. This is like a nice, simple setup, and it'd be a lot of fun. But now you can see I'm just burning all these turns where I'm only getting 20%. It's like so underwhelming because of that restriction that it has to be Fujin launching. That's really what killed it. It just needs to be any character and we'd be good to go here, right? So we'll go through the rest of this and just see how much damage we can do. The follow-ups are nice, though. Like, we're getting those on the enemies. Like, that's really nice. So here, yeah, let's do this. Oh, shoot, that was not what I was supposed to do. I mean, it will do a bigger buff, but it doesn't do an attack. My bad. I meant to do HP attack. There we go. There we go, and then launch away. And I mean, you are getting launch damage, which is good. And I think that was their way of balancing, because they're like, well, they're going to be launching a bunch and doing a bunch of damage, so let's not let them get 60 each time. But they allowed cam to happen, so they kind of needed to not have that restriction here, right? So now I could kind of just pick an attack. Whatever I do here is pretty much going to launch. So let's go ahead and do this. And we'll attack through. Okay, and then percentage should go up by 60. Yep, 61. And it would go up more if I had her force enhanced to 30. It would probably be like 65 or 68 or something like that. But this is fine for like a, force enhanced 10 character. So anyways, guys, and I didn't end up summoning. That's good. You actually probably wouldn't want to summon, because, yeah, you get those wind slashes off. Look, I just wind slashed for 1.2 mil on that trap. Like, that's good. That's good damage, right? But it's like at the very end of the force time. So Fujin's going to be able to finish it off here. So sure, let's finish off with her LD. So, it's okay for like a traditional fight. Like, we got some decent damage out of there. It's just not going to do like a massive nuke like Cam is going to do, right? So anyways, guys, there you go. There's the guide on Fujin. Like I said, she is a good character. It's just her FR effect is kind of dog doo-doo, right? But you could still have her in the party, use somebody else's force effect that she maybe synergizes with or something like that. I think she'd actually synergize well with Kane's force if you just wanted to use Kane, because she does range damage and launching. Like, that's Kane right there, right? So anyways, guys, let me know what you guys think of Fujin. Let me know if you pulled for her, if your luck was good. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you all on the next one.